Listening to my good friend Eric with the issue of Kofi Jima arrest and many other, as a country, we for some time now we said we are going to fight corruption because that has been one of the greatest enemy to the progress of this country. And so when you are fighting corruption, what do you seek to achieve? There are two things that you seek to achieve. First, one is to prevent people from, taking public office into their own hands, trying to use it to, maximize profit for their personal gains. That is one thing. And also to ensure that there's trust and our country in terms of handling our own affairs. And so for me, I can also speak to the fact that whether or not he was first invited, but be it as it's me, when you say you want to fight corruption, I don't think that is for political gains, but some of these things, somebody sitting in the office or the current chief executive officer or the MD of GHOC, if he sees how Kofi Jima was arrested at Kumasi and even transferred from Kumasi to CID headquarters, that alone for interrogation, that alone to me would serve as deterrent to him, for him to sit up. When persons who allegedly cause crimes, and we say
the president's caution to directors of SOEs is not a deterrent enough?
It is enough. The former president, Nana Akufo-Addo, did the same. But today, what are we seeing? He did say, you remember his first public address at the Independence Square, the sworn in. You remember the statement he made that if you are coming to his government just because you want to make money, then you should be smiling at the wrong side of your mouth. But if you want to make money, you should go to the private sector. But in the end, look at what we're seeing. What he's been accused of is about some state vehicle being in his possession and some, all kinds of things. So for me, it is time for us to treat. We cannot say that an ordinary theft issue of, let's say, somebody who has stolen a goat, that one, they should go in a Rambo style to go and arrest that particular alleged suspect. And when somebody who is allegedly probably stolen an amount belonging to the state that can really actually buy millions of goats, we say that such people should be invited to come by themselves. Of course, that is the process. That is one of the means, that they could explore. But they decide to go in that way to arrest. That is what I'm saying, that in doing all of these things, that alone is part of sending a certain signal to those, even apart from the caution the president has given them, those serving in government, that if you also make a mistake and you do same, and a day for accountability comes, like today, this is how you are going to be dealt with. And that will be ringing a certain bell in their minds that when I do something like this, if somebody can be arrested, right, and transferred from Kumasi to the CID headquarters because he's keeping state, vehicles in his possession, and he's been accused for some corrupt activities when he was in office, you should know that you, the person currently occupying the same position, yours probably will be worse than that. And for me, that will help us in fighting the corruption. So I don't see it to be political vendetta. I don't see it to be like political persecution. I don't see it to be as government going after his opponent. What I would suggest and what I would want, and I believe in His Excellency the President, because he's done it before, that even if any of his appointees engage in any act that is suspected to be corruption, certainly the same way that the investigation are currently being conducted, same would be applied to an NDC appointee. He's not doing it because, those that have been arrested are NDC or they are MPP. He's doing it because they are suspect, and such people are enemies to our progress. And so for me, I think that is the right way if we want to fight corruption. if you sit and you invite them to come at their own time, to come with their lawyers, I mean, it is like we are trying to beautify and dignify the act of corruption. And that is why people will have challenges when they see police going after somebody who has allegedly stolen 500 Ghana cedis from someone, or 2,000 Ghana cedis. We see people being sentenced to 10 years imprisonment because the person has stolen a goat or a sheep. We've seen people being sentenced to 2 years imprisonment because the person has stolen from his employer maybe 1,000 cedis or 10,000 Ghana cedis. But we are talking about millions of cedis, which can actually construct the road from Wa to Tumu. I was just watching a video. That is my constituency. The major road that links Upper West to Upper East. I don't know if you ever use the road. You can see how bad it is. And these days, it is raining. It is very, very difficult. A road that you're supposed to use from Wa to Tumu, you're supposed to drive like an hour and 30 minutes. Because of the bad nature of the road, you're going to spend almost 3 hours on the road. I mean, and for the time in Memo, that road has never seen any improvement. It has, ever since I was born, it has always been like that. In fact, we have never seen a tar road, you know. And if we have people who are occupying public office who are supposed to manage our resources in a manner that we can get value for money, and they are allegedly engaged in certain acts that can, you know, affect our forest movement, I think that we shouldn't handle them with any dignity.
You see, that's the challenge that creates the perception, because most of these high-profile cases, we seldom see the end of it, convictions or even some retrieval of the monies involved. But per the example you gave, the goat thief will get his 10 years in jail. And so it leaves room for the assumption that these are political persecutions.
That is what I'm saying. So that's why I think that this is the best way to go after them. If we want to dignify the act by saying that we are a standing invitation to them to appear before CID or whichever state institution for investigation, I mean, it comes with a certain respect. But once you go after them this way, I tell you, other persons sitting occupying same position, they will be, if they have any intention of doing same or something, they will be, hey, if Mr. Kofi Juma, who is over 70 years, is being treated this way, me that I'm 40-something years or 50 years, and he's been, they are going after him because of maybe an issue about maybe just 500 million or $500,000 case. And somebody who has an intention of stealing from the state about maybe 10 million, he will sit up. Because that alone, the court aspect hasn't come. The arrest aspect, the trauma, the psychological effect, you know, the public perception alone would deter the person from carrying on such
quickly.
The logic and the analogy is just lost on me, to be honest with you. I mean, assuming that you go through that process and the person is found innocent. What are we then?
Yeah.
And that's the reason why we say that we want to act in a civilized manner in how we treat ourselves. I'm not saying, I didn't say that Kofi Juma should not be held accountable for his stewardship.
Or treated any special.
And even the law says that even somebody that you call a common criminal who has even stolen a goat has rights.
Yes,
and that
is innocent until proven guilty.
Yes, we've had incidents in this country where we have gone after the police in terms of using high-handedness when it comes to some of these things, even ordinary people. You understand? And so I don't have a challenge with that. But you see, this analogy of, okay, that will become a deterrent. And it's almost if it's, when you're using words like allegedly. Now, if you're using words like allegedly and you're going to arrest the guy and you're going there with all guns blazing and people wearing balaclavas and all of that, I mean, how does that
serve as a deterrent?
Serve as a deterrent. You know what I'm saying? So all I'm saying is that, yes, go ahead and prosecute if you want, do also. But even the inconsistencies, right? And the hypocrisy of it. So in one breath, you're claiming that Kofi Juma has taken some vehicles. And so you're sending security personnel to his house to arrest him and take him through a process and show him where power lies and bring him from Kumasi to Accra. Yet you come into office and every single criminal or a corruption case, prosecution that was going through the judicial process. You have truncated the process by nulli prosequi. I mean, come on.